underscoring that the year 2022 itself was expected to be perceived as a year of hope and economic rebound, particularly for many of our communities in Africa and Asia. However, it is very unfortunate that the economic outlook has predicted gloomy developments with higher than expected inflation in many countries, worse than anticipated slowdown and spillovers effect from wars and conflicts. It is also very disheartening and aberrant, and I will say even going to the extent very alarming, that the recent World Bank report with the title Poverty and Shared Prosperity 2022, Correcting Courses, underlines very boldly that the global goal of ending extreme poverty by 2030 would not be achieved, and global inequality rose for the first time in decades. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear participants, before you complete our program, the world population would have crossed 8 billion. It is forecasted by tomorrow, 15 November 2022, and is projected to be 9.6 billion by 2050, entailing obviously a substantial increase in food production. And obviously the requirements of water will be there manifold. Moreover, now we got scary estimates indicating that 40% of the world population live in water scarce areas. And by 2025, about 1.6 billion people will be living in regions or countries with absolute water scarcity. The global demand for water, as highlighted by our honorable speakers, would also exceed now. I think there is an estimate that it will exceed supply by over 40%, which would eventually put at risk 45% of our global GDP. 52% of the world population also will be at risk, and there is an estimate about 40% of grain production also may stand higher risk. Ladies and gentlemen, water used in agriculture itself is seen as one of the main causes of water scarcity. The global average agricultural water use efficiency is estimated to be only 55%. We usually know, we say that water is life. In French, l'eau c'est la vie. This important commodity, crucial commodity, must be managed efficiently, equitably, for sustainable development and for resilient social, economic, and environmental systems. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear participants, the daunting uphill task is to ensure that there would be sufficient water of adequate quality for drinking purposes, for sanitation, for food production, for energy generation, and for all socio-economic activities of the present and our future generation also. Against this scary backdrop and immense challenges such as water, health, education, energy, and livelihoods, we do also have paucity of qualified technicians and researchers, which are seriously menacing our member countries, and especially in the rural areas of Africa and Asia. We have to champion and advocate more science and support transfer of knowledge and know-how. And more importantly, we can transfer appropriate and affordable technologies to our member countries. Water management, irrigation, and technological interventions are indeed very high on the agenda of Urdu. We are having, as we are talking now, we are having parallelly running a physical program in Pakistan on the thematic international training workshop on irrigation and water management. Ladies and gentlemen, the African Asian Rural Development Organization is very much rural-centric. It's an intergovernmental organization embodying the spirit of South-South and triangular cooperation, as well as the spirit of African Asian solidarity. It is a vibrant platform for policy advocacy, for high-end capacity building program as the one we are having now, and dedicated research, also transfer of experts from one country to another. We enjoy observer status in many UN organizations, and we are operating from New Delhi with 6 regional offices located in Africa and Asia. Coming back to the theme of the training program, my dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, technological innovation on integrated water management, Indian experiences. I have to aver that biologically, economically, socially, politically, or environmentally, water will remain a cardinal issue for sustainable development, as rightly highlighted by goal number 6 of the UN SDGs. Water management and allocation will thus have to meet, as I said earlier, the current competing demand and factor in demographic and climatic changes, which are increasing the stress on our water resources. A solution towards these increased threats is the integrated water resource management approach that promotes the way forward for efficient, equitable, and sustainable development and management of these, well, say, world-limited resources, and for coping with conflicting demands from different sectors. Implementing these type of programs will only guarantee us long-term social, economic, and environmental benefits. Besides deliberating on technological intervention, you will certainly consider appropriate water policies, laws and water rights, water pricing policies and mechanism, and stakeholders' participation in decision-making process. Dear participants, while debating, while discussing, we should constantly remind ourselves that almost 2/3 of the world population will continue experiencing very severe water scarcity for at least 1 month of the year. Half of the world population could be living in areas facing water scarcity by as early as 2025, which may result in displacement due to water scarcity of some 700 million people by 2030. To mitigate these challenges, India and the Institute has done outstanding work. There are innovative technologies to optimize the water resources, especially the underground water resources. Some of these stories and these successful programs will be shared with you. We have to replicate this program. We have to upscale them. We have to implement them in many of our member countries. We have seen various initiatives and peoples and projects and institutions going the extra mile to assist in water management and more specifically in rural transformation. We do know that India is assuming the presidency of G20 this year itself, and India has registered remarkable progress in many areas, including water resource management. I will cite a few areas: digital, financial, social inclusion, governance, and so on. So now we have to share this experience of water management, integrated way of managing our waters. Dear participants, ARDU firmly believes that through cooperation, science and technology can play an important role in bringing about social and economical transformation in our countries, especially in our rural areas. That's why we have re-engineered our own platform so that we can make technology more accessible and more affordable to our member countries. We have also, we are implementing within the full swing of implementation of a 10-year strategic program, which on the one hand will shape agricultural and rural development issues to facilitate their mainstreaming in the development agenda, in policy formulation, and in making adequate budgetary provisions. On the other hand, it will also help integrating innovation and technology as game changers to steer up prosperity, and especially rural prosperity. We have also designed what we call here in our headquarters, the Audiopedia, which is also having an affordable technology menu where successful models, successful policies and programs are being packed for heralding effective rural transformation, resilience and buoyancies in our countries. Under our strategic framework, we are already implementing a program with the government of India and with the Principal Scientific Advisors Office, where we have transferred a selected number of technologies. And I hope we will soon be transferring more technologies related to water and water management. These technologies have been transferred to selected other member countries. We would be very happy to register more technologies and to be parking them in our ATM. We invite you all to visit our website and to see which technologies from your respective countries can be parked in there. I am very confident, ladies and gentlemen, my dear participants, that this meticulous planning and the stalwarts guiding us through the program, as you proceed, you will see a galaxy of stalwarts who have been selected as resource persons. You will certainly discuss relevant models, relevant technologies, which will help you and your respective countries in mitigating the challenges towards integrated water management. I therefore urge all my dear participants to actively share, under the guidance of these resource persons, your own personal knowledge and your own experiences, so that we collectively can, at the end of this program, can formulate certain recommendations which will have definitely important ramifications in our other member countries. I'm confident that we are capable to collectively bring remedies to many maladies, especially in water resource management, and for the benefit of our people, and more specifically rural people, rural youngsters and women in the rural communities. As ADO is simultaneously having online and offline programs, I do hope in the coming month we will be able to organize some physical program in your esteemed institute and to share real-time experiences with our delegates from different other member countries. Let me reiterate my gratitude and thanks to Sri Satish Kumarji, member of the Central Groundwater, and to all of you for sparing your valuable time for this opening of this very important program. Let me wish fruitful deliberation and rewarding experiences to all my participants and also to the resource person. Thank you very much.
Thank you, His Excellency Dr. Manoj Nadia Singh, Secretary General of ADO, for such an enriching and authentic inaugural remarks. Through his expert remark, His Excellency has pointed out how pertinent this training program is when the world population is just hitting 8 billion for the sustainable development, be it for food security, be it for the drinking water sustainability or source water sustainability for economic development. Thank you so much, His Excellency, for extending the cooperation for online training programs also. We will look forward to the National Groundwater Training Institute to organize physical training for ADO trainees. Thank you once again. And with this, we have come to the culmination of this inaugural session. And I would like to request Dr. S. Subramaniam, Senior Scientist from Rajiv Gandhi National Groundwater Training Institute, to propose vote of thanks to this August gathering and distinguished dignitaries. Over to you, Subramaniam, sir.
Thank you, Madam. His Excellency Dr. Manoj Nadia Singh, General Secretary, ADO, Mr. Ram Kuthesi, Assistant General Secretary, ADO, respected Sri Satish Kumar, Member East and Member South, Sri Saurav Gupta ji, Regional Director, RGI, and trainees from all over the African, Asian countries. we have now come to the end of the inaugural function. So it gives me an immense pleasure to propose vote of thanks. Today, the presence of His Excellency Dr. Manoj Narav Singh amongst us is electrifying. Sir, we have no words to express our sincere thanks to you for making it convenient to inaugurate this function and inspiring us with the excellent speech on the background of this training program. Thanking you, sir. My special thanks also go to Mr. Ramsi Kutesi, Assistant General Secretary, ARDO, for his excellent support for the materializing this pilot program. Thanking you, sir. Today, our Chairman Sunil Kumar ji is not here due to our Honorable Minister program. So I thank him for his constant and timely support from the formulation to this to the implementation of this training program. So I thank you, sir. I thank respected Satish Kumar ji, member South and member East. Sir, we have no words to express our sincere thanks to you for his precious time with us and making it convenient to address this function. Sir, your presence always be very encouraging. Thanking you, sir. My thanks also goes to Sri Saurav Gupta ji, Regional Director, for providing a constant encouragement and inspiration and active support throughout this program. And I thank Ardo team for its constant support for involvement throughout the training program. I thank all the trainees from the different African Asian countries who have taken keen interest in our training program and make it convenient to attend. Finally, this program would not have been completed without the active work and support and cooperation involvement of our faculty, all the faculties and staff of the RGI. I sincerely thank them all. Thanking all. Thanking, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Subramanian, sir. With this, we have come to the end of this inaugural program, and I think we need to have a group photograph. May I request the technical team of ARDO to do the needful?
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for giving this honor. I just request to participant to just on your video cameras and set the focus on the faces with the smiling faces. So we should have some memory in the group photographs. Thank you very much. Oh, we'll take some time because we are having a different windows. It's almost 85 participants. Just allow for a second to take a screenshots. Sonam, are you taking that one? Yeah, please. Thank you, Excellency. It's done. Thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, His Excellency. So kind of you.
Thank you. It's our pleasure.
Namaskar.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, one and all. And we will have 2 minutes break before the technical sessions resume. Kindly assemble by 2:15. In another 5 minutes, please. Welcome back all the distinguished delegates. And indeed, this is a remarkable presence from more than 25 countries covering all the ARDO nations. So let us start our technical session. The first session that would be, it would be delivered by Dr. S. Sudarshan Sahu. Let me give a brief introduction about Sudarshan Sahu. He is a scientist in Central Groundwater Board, has more than 18 years of experience in both hard rock and soft rock geology, has worked in the field of groundwater exploration, aquifer mapping, groundwater resource estimation, and groundwater management studies in the states of Bihar and Odisha in India. Dr. Sudarshan Sahu was associated with the very prestigious study on like paleo channels and expert committee to review the available information of paleo channels in India. He is the recipient of Savitri Chadha Memorial INC-IH Young Scientist Award of 2016. And Dr. Sahu has many national and international publications on the subject of hydrogeology and other disciplines of geology to his credit. With this introduction, I would like to welcome Dr. Sudarshan Sahu to deliver the first talk on this in this technical session. All yours, Dr. Sahu.
Thank you, madam. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, you are.
I'm audible. Thank you. So I request Mr. Kamal to please allow me to share my screen. Okay, thank you. So it is now my screen is also visible, I think.
Yes, it is visible.
Yes.
Yeah. So very good afternoon, everyone. I welcome all the participants from different countries to this pilot training program. My topic is National Aquifer Mapping in Ganga Alluvial Plain, Patna, Bihar State. So, as you know, Ganga Plain hosts some of the best aquifers in the world, and we have carried out, the department has carried out one pilot aquifer mapping in that area. So why now actually we thought that this kind of studies should be carried out? First, all of us know our dependency on groundwater is ever increasing day by day, and water quality is deteriorating, and also water levels are falling in a faster rate. And all over the world, not only India, all over the world in different stretches, people feel that scarcity in water supply. So our policy now in India, we have shifted from water development, groundwater development, and we have focused more on how to manage that resource sustainably. So there is a great paradigm shift in our thought process and our entire groundwater development management process. So we need to focus at local level, so that we require, for this we require aquifer geometry, what is the potential of that aquifer, what is the quality aspect of that aquifer. That's why we carried out some pilot aquifer mapping programs in 6 different hydrogeological terrains spread in different states of India, like Bihar, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. These are the states in India. So all kinds of advanced hydrogeological, geochemical, isotopic, and geophysical techniques were applied in those studies. So isotope applications like your stable isotopes and some your radioactive isotopes were also studied, and subsequently in that study groundwater modeling was carried out. So these were the 6 areas spread in different terrains of India, and we are concentrating on this study. If you see my cursor, this is actually Patna, and this bluish stretch is your Indo-Gangetic and Brahmaputra plain. So this was the area which was taken up in the state of Bihar for this pilot aquifer mapping project. So entirely we had some objectives to define the aquifer geometry and type of aquifer, groundwater regime behaviors, hydraulic characters of the aquifers, what is the geochemistry of those multi-layered aquifer systems in a 1:50,000 scale. So, so different techniques, new techniques in geophysics were applied, and they were also assessed how their utility and efficacy can be suitably replicated elsewhere in other parts of the country. So, finalizing the approach and methodology in which national aquifer mapping, subsequently which the government of India took in a pan-India basis. So the outcomes which were applied in pilot basis, so those were now implemented in our flagship program, National Aquifer Mapping Program of the Government of India. So the experiences gained through these pilot aquifer mapping programs were upscaled and they were implemented in national aquifer mapping projects. So in that entire study, first was a huge process of data compilation, available data compilation regarding your aquifers, regarding water levels, regarding water quality, every aspect, whatever data was available with the department, with different other agencies, with local bodies. So those were collected and compiled. Some data gap analysis was carried out, and subsequently we planned how to generate data and in what order we should generate data for each and every quadrant in a topo set. So geophysical studies were carried out, different geophysical studies were carried out, starting from your vertical electrical sounding to the ERT imaging. Transient electromagnetic method was also applied, and this was first time in India we applied heli-borne transient electromagnetic method. So this was actually airborne method. So then electrical borehole logging, this is usually CGWB carries out in its day-to-day daily exploration routine. So exploratory drilling and water quality analysis during that study, also some exploratory borewells, T-wells were constructed, and rigorous your water quality analysis was carried out, and isotope sampling was also done in that area. Conventional hydrogeological surveys, including micro level surveys, soil infiltration test, pumping test, everything was carried out. Preparation of various thematic layers like your geomorphology, soil, drainage, these maps were also prepared for that area. Aquifer characterization and preparation of subsequently some aquifer maps were prepared, and the character of those aquifers were also prepared. So it was followed by numerical simulation studies of the aquifers to some projected demands, how that aquifer will respond to different situations. So it was followed by some formulation of sustainable aquifer management plan. This was the entire methodology: first data compilation, data gap analysis, then it was followed by data generation and data integration. Your available data and the data generated, those were integrated and those were also interpreted. Aquifer maps were prepared subsequently, and simulation of aquifer response model was formulated. And it was followed by testing of strategies and formulation of aquifer management plan. So actually that Patna pilot aquifer mapping area located specifically in a local name Maner Khagol area. So that area is a part of that, forms a part of Ganga plain. All of us know Ganga Plain is that host is huge thickness of Quaternary alluvium. So this area, you can say, it is almost 521 square kilometer. So this is its slope is it is sloping towards northeast, your southwest to northwest. Detailed, this is the major drainage formed by Ganga River itself, which flows at the northern boundary of the area. Area enjoys subtropical climate. Area receives an average rainfall of around 1100 millimeter per year. So, as you know, if we see the regional picture of that area, how that at what location that area is particularly located. If you see, this is the part of Ganga plain map where we see lots of mega fans are there. In the northern plains, you can see in the extreme right your Kosi mega fan. This is Tista, then Kosi, then Gandak, then Ghagra, and this is Ganga Yamuna mega fans. And likewise in the southern marginal area, one mega fan is also there, which is very unique in its location, because in marginal areas and generally world over we do not find any kind of mega fan. But this is a river named as Son River, which has formed a huge mega fan in the marginal parts of the Ganga plain. And this area, this Patna pilot aquifer mapping area makes a part of it, Son mega fan at its distal parts. So it is understood that this area is underlain by huge aquifers, because Son River is draining the Indian Craton. It is draining the Indian Craton, and it is bringing with it lots of fine to coarse grained sediment. And those sediments are brownish yellow in color. They form very good aquifers. So this is the mega fan area, and you see the area is located at the central parts of the distal region. So around at least 5 paleochannels of Son River traverse the pilot area. Unlike the active channel, the paleochannels in that area are typically meandering in nature, and they are also observed to migrate at some stretches. So paleochannels and patches presently serve as pines as temporary water bodies for irrigation. Definitely in the state of Bihar, one culture is there for at local scale irrigation, that is known as Ahar and Pine system. Ahar and Pine system. So pines form minor water bodies, which generally at the local depressions where water accumulates. From those water bodies, minor, you can say some drainages, some distributaries are formed at a local government level, and for irrigation purpose. So those are known as Ahar and Pine system in the state of Bihar. So definitely, because this mega fan is located in the marginal parts of the state, the paleochannels at some part stretches also form as pines where water accumulates. Not a single active drainage, if you see, there's not a single active drainage flows northward or westward to join either Ganga or Son. It itself indicates that the area is underlain by huge sand bodies. Definitely, because entire rainfall, whatever is falling on surface, it is getting infiltrated. So if you go beneath the surface, you see that this is the area of study, pilot aquifer mapping area, and this you say the basement is dipping towards north and northwest. Your alluvial thickness goes from some tens of meters to more than 700 meters in the northwestern parts. So definitely in and around Patna, we can find not less than 700 meters of alluvial thickness. So those alluvial strata, they host very good aquifers. And if you see the in Ganga plain, between your Himalaya in the north and Indian Craton in the south, there are lots of basement faults which are formed out of this Himalayan orogeny. So those faults are located that they're aligned in the northeast and southwestern direction, and out of those, two faults, East Patna Fault and Munger Sahasa Ridge Fault, they also traverse very close to our pilot aquifer mapping area. And in that, those faults at local scale has affected in a huge way the drainage pattern and you can say the stratigraphic filling over the basement, because due to the tectonic activities along these faults, so some shifting can say the dynamic character of those rivers has been induced, and those dynamism has created some alluvial filling in the depressions. So definitely they have helped in creating huge sand bodies. So this is the general geology of that area. So over the Archean, you can say the basement, Precambrian basement, directly quaternary sediments rest. There is a huge unconformity, and the quaternary sediments in Gangetic plain, we divided as older alluvium, which remain far up, where your floor water never reaches, and then newer alluvium, which remains the fringe alluvium on both sides of your drainages. And newer alluvium is again further divided into older alluvial, older floodplain, and active floodplain. So this is the you can say the land use map of that area. And if you see the land use map, the major parts, your agricultural land is around 28%, seasonal waterlogged area, which have a seasonal waterlogged major part used for agriculture also 32%. So some are waterlogged areas, but they are also used for agriculture. So this is, if you see the surface elevation map, and the surface elevation is quite not so high. It varies within 46 meter to 62 meter. And in that area, in the northern part, you see the Ganga river flows. Ganga is a huge river with width varying between 2 kilometers up to 5 kilometers. So its bank is quite high, and the river is quite incised in that area also. So hydrogeology of that area, if you see, multi-layered aquifer system within the quaternary sediments exist. Aquifers are highly potential, catering the entire demand for the irrigation, domestic and industries. So water level is quite shallow, generally less than 7 meter region, and fluctuation is also, annual fluctuation is also quite low, within 2 to 3 meter only. No water quality problem is reported except arsenic contamination in the northern part of the area. All of us know that groundwater arsenic is a general problem in the state of Bihar, UP, in the middle Ganga plain, because this arsenic poisoning is observed world over in newer alluvium. If you see the sediments which belong to Holocene period, so in our area, the Holocene sediments are confined to a narrow strip on the northern part of the study area, and the remaining parts are older alluvium. So only the northern fringe just adjoining the river, they report some arsenic contamination of groundwater. Western part of the Patna urban area covers the northeastern part of the pilot area, experiencing heavy groundwater extraction from deeper aquifer. In the state of in your Patna forms the capital of the Bihar state, in that its population is huge, and it's you can say the groundwater extraction is also used to meet the drinking need of the local populace. So stage of groundwater development, based on this, you can say this is on the basis of, I think, year 2011. So it was 61% stage of groundwater extraction, you can say. So during the study, some infiltration, soil infiltration tests were also conducted. Soil is basically sandy loamy in nature, and the rates vary between 1 to 4.2 centimeter per hour. So groundwater use in that area, you see, basically people depend on groundwater only in that area for their drinking as well as irrigation. So Patna Municipal Corporation draws water from aquifer within 150 to 200 meters below ground level, at 77 locations for supply at the rate of 3,000 to 4,000 meter per day per tubewell only. So besides Patna Municipal Corporation, deep aquifer is also being pumped by several, almost all the private apartments in the households, because people generally depend on groundwater for their drinking needs. No surface water supply is presently located, is observed in the city of Patna. So piped water supply covers 60% of households. Gross water supply in the city is around 186 million liters per day. So with about 91 LPCD as per 2011 population. So groundwater use in the area. So there are some other towns also, so like your Danapur, Fulwari. So these are also all some minor small towns in that area. So which also depend heavily on groundwater for that. And the entire irrigation demand is in that area is made from groundwater only, no surface, except this Fulwari. If you see, except Fulwari Sarif, all the other block parts which fall in that area, they depend almost all on groundwater only, not a single drop they use from surface water. So during that study, around 400 sample surveys, door-to-door surveys were also carried out to know about the unit draft for irrigation and domestic purposes. So there was a huge, you can say, questionnaire which were being asked to the local people, and some answers were finally synthesized to get it that during monsoon and non-monsoon, the irrigation, what your draft of water is there, hectare meter, and for drinking, domestic use. So if you see, the total draft is like this in the different blocks. This is now the geophysical studies which were carried out by department itself, CGW, Central Groundwater Board. So based on that geophysical surveys in-house, so some sections were also created for that area. You see here, this is the first aquifer, then this is the second aquifer, and if you see, the third aquifer also starts from here. So it goes beyond 300 meters below ground. So there is a depression here. If you see, there is a depression. The clay and the second clay. First your surface aquifer, then first clay, then second clay, separating the aquifers. There is a bend, I think maybe some kind of your post-depositional kind of your tectonic activities. So due to that, there is a deformation in the segments. So these are the geophysical studies, total, you can say the output from surface geophysical surveys conducted by our department in that area, delineating different aquifer systems. And some geophysical studies in a huge way, the works were outsourced from National Geophysical Research Institute, which is located at Hyderabad in India. So that agency carried out huge number of your geophysical techniques, including airborne heliborne survey. So you see the different geophysical techniques which are used: electromagnetic resistivity, transient electromagnetic resistivity, borehole logging. So here, you can say your airborne survey was also carried out. First one, electromagnetic. And the department NGRI, with the help of the department NGRI, we conducted heliborne survey in that area, but not the entire area was flown by the flight. Only a small part in the southern stretches in that study area were covered by the, your airborne electromagnetic survey. Only 150 square kilometer southwestern part of the project was covered under SkyTel, which included only 52 square kilometers from the project area. So you see, our helicopter was flying beyond the study area also, up to this river Sone. So there were entirely, if you see, 50 fly lines separated by 250 meters. So average flight speed of the helicopter was 22 meters per second, with an average flight altitude height of 30 meters above the ground. Because in the northern part, there is a huge population, cities are there. So there was electrifying wires. So it was very difficult to fly the helicopter in the northern parts. So only the southern areas, which are very, you can say, open spaces are there. So that area was utilized for the flying of the helicopter. So the geophysical outputs from the, you can say, from that airborne helicopter survey, Heliborne survey. So it gives some depth of confidence. I mean to say, up to the depth which we can get reliably some information. It varied between your 40 to 400 meter below ground level. If you see from the interpretation of that data, the Heliborne data, we see that within 20 meter below ground level, so there is a huge paleochannel of that Son River, which is flowing in the western part, and it again gets bifurcated here. So two paleochannels are there with the parent stem channel here. So and the depth of 30 meter below ground, we observe 3 paleochannels are there. So this is also one of the most interesting output from that Heliborne survey. The higher magnetic field is observed in the northern part as well as in the middle and southeastern part of the study area. Higher magnetic field indicates comparatively the shallow basement. If you see the when the basement is quite the shallow depth, so we get higher magnetic field. So in the flight area, you see the northern part is of shallow depth. The basement lies at shallow depth. And this part also in the south eastern central part, your also basement lies at shallow depth. There is a depression that runs from northeast to southwest direction, and we assume that this is East Patna fault. And these are the very beautiful outputs from that SkyTEM Heliborne survey. You see. The entire, this is a technique which utilizes continuously. It can scan the surface and subsurface as well, and it can give you the continuous information regarding the subsurface strata and how that aquifer is configured and what may be the its potential also. So if you see the first principal aquifer here, and this is a large clay that separates the second aquifer from first aquifer, and here is a if you see, here is a direct connection from the surface. The first aquifer, it is connected with surface. It may be one of the paleochannels where our your helicopter was flying. So this here is a connectivity, and those paleochannels, they must be definitely helping in groundwater recharge in a larger way. So the second principal aquifer, system 2, is almost confined by that clay. So this is particularly in the Heliborne surveyed area, flight area. So it is actually now corroborated with our e-logs, borewell geophysical logs, and it is almost matching. And you see, this is also the same output from the remaining area. Here you see the same kind of your first principal aquifer system, second principal aquifer system, and in this part, there is a connection between first aquifer and second aquifer. It is also very clearly given. And these are blue patches. They are confining layers, clay layers, and there is a huge connection between this first aquifer system and second aquifer system. And this is actually output of ERT, which is being corroborated with SkyTEM Heliborne data, and they are also quite matching. And this is actually validation with CGWB data in non-flown area, because the flight was there was a flight in the southern parts only 52 square kilometer of the entire 521 square kilometer area. So there is a huge area which where validate our data in the other areas. So non-flight area. So okay, so it is quite matching here. Here also some geophysical data with our geophysical data that your Heli1 output was also validated. It is matching. Now, during that study, our department also CGWB drilled some wells during the study, and before that, before undertaking that study, department had already drilled 13 exploratory wells and 4 deposit wells in that area. So lithologs of 28 wells drilled by other agencies were also collected.
You know, 7 minutes behind the score that small.
Am I clear? Am I clear?
I'm telling you.
Okay.
Really
so during the pilot study, additional 6 bore wells were also drilled. There is some actually there is some noise. Am I clear? My voice is quite audible.
Hello. Yes, one of that guy where they buy from Alan.
So this is the output of groundwater exploration through drilling in that area, and fence diagram has been prepared on the basis of drilling and VS data of CGW. VS data, vertical electrical sounding data, and you can say the output from drilling, they have been utilized to prepare such kind of fence diagrams for that area. So drilling under this pilot aquifer mapping, 16 wells were constructed at 6 locations, and these were the locations, and some lithologs were collected. Now final aquifer maps were prepared based on the all the outcomes from your geophysics. Those were from outsourced and in-house also, and our drilling activities. So all the data were synthesized, and there were some aquifer maps were prepared. This is the final aquifer maps. You can say after validating with our departmental data, and after validating your departmental geophysical studies output, and also after validating with our drilling lithologs. So finally, these are well accepted, and this is the final aquifer models, and the thickness of the near surface clay. If you see in the flight area, in the area where your helicopter was flying, and some electromagnetic data we are receiving. So based on that data, we have prepared the surface clay, the thickness isopac map of the surface clay. If you see in the paleochannel areas, the thickness of that top surface clay is low, and some other areas it goes up to 30 meter and more than that also. So in depth to the top second clay, this is the map which shows the depth to top second clay which separates the first and second principal aquifer system. This is the map showing the thickness of second clay separating first and second aquifer system, and thickness of first principal aquifer. This is the map which shows you the thickness of first principal aquifer system. If you see, the thickness of the first principal aquifer system goes beyond 60 meters. So that aquifer is beyond 60 meters at certain localities. And this is the final aquifer model in that area, 3D. And this is also the 3D model for that area. It shows how the aquifer systems are separated and where they are connected. And connection between these aquifers, it tells something actually, stories about that, how the aquifer is getting recharged, and where you can say there may be some other kind of your pollution problems if there are any in that area. So this is the depth section of aquifers in SkyTem flown part of the area. This you can see how from the top up to bottom. So these are the aquifer surfaces, how they look like, elevation at 50 to 60 meter, then 10 to 20 meter, and this is 20 to 30 meter, and this is 120 to 150 meter. How the surface looks, and this is entirely, you can say entirely clay in nature, this surface. And here are some your aquifer exposures. If you just cut the aquifer, the 3D of that area, cut the aquifer and get your surface of that area, so you can find such kind of your outputs. So this is isopac map of the first principal aquifer system, and this is the isopac map of the second principal aquifer system. If you see the first aquifer system isopac map here, the thickness is more than, you can say, 80 meter in the eastern part and the western part, and in the central part it is a little bit thinner. But in the second aquifer system, it shows that central part is quite it is also thicker towards your eastern part, and this is your western part. And this is the 3D model of that area. Overall, we can say there is a first aquifer system, then second aquifer system, and there are some confining layers. Now, during that study, water samples were also collected. Some piezometers were constructed tapping the first aquifer system, and some piezometers were constructed tapping the second aquifer system. And there were 50 number of dog wells, open dog wells, which were tapping the first acutite layer overlying the aquifers, so which facilitates rainfall infiltration. So those were also monitored for water level and water quality as well. So water level maps were prepared, as I have already told. The water levels in that area, even during pre and post, they are largely shallow in nature. And this is the water level of piezometers of your first aquifer system, depth water levels. And this is, you can say, the water level from water level monitoring. These are the actually equipotential contours showing groundwater flow. The groundwater flows towards, you can say, northern and northeastern part, towards north and northeast, where groundwater flows. So if you see, there is a to some extent a depression around Patna urban area, and the eastern part here is your Patna urban area is located, and due to groundwater draft, there is a depression in that area. So these are also second principal aquifer with depth water level map contours. And this is the groundwater flow direction in the second aquifer system. You see, the depression is observed in the first aquifer system in and around Patna, and here no, as per this data, there is no such depression is observed for the second aquifer system. These are the comparisons between your acutite zone, I mean to say the dog wells, and then first aquifer system and the second aquifer system, how they are configured. Water levels, they vary, and often you can say your dog well, water level in dog well, they remain shallow, and somewhere they go deeper, and water levels from your first aquifer system and second aquifer system, they remain much higher. So groundwater quality also was carried out, studied for that area. Around 81 samples were collected, and they were analyzed for different parameters. So water is largely, you can say, potable, and there is no such groundwater problem issue in that area, except some the arsenic points. This is, if you see, the water is basically your calcium magnesium dominated bicarbonate kind of water. And this is your second aquifer system. It is also calcium magnesium bicarbonate kind of water. This is for the top acutite, and this is for the first aquifer system. Okay, groundwater quality parameters for EC. If you see, the EC maximum goes up to 1750 here, and the for the top acutite, and the second aquifer, first aquifer system and the second principal aquifer system, they are largely much more potable. They are better quality, because due to this irrigation and fertilizers applied in the agriculture field, this your EC is being reflected in the acutite zone. And the below lying your first aquifer system and second aquifer system, they are free from that, and the EC is quite moderate. Hardness is also not objectionable in that area. So groundwater arsenic is, as I have told at some minor locations, arsenic was observed, which was found beyond permissive limit of Indian standard 50 ppb at that time. The sediments were Holocene age. Then isotope investigations for that area was also carried out. Some samples were collected from the entire area. Your tritium, oxygen-18, and you can say carbon-14. All these samples were collected and they were analyzed. So low tritium values was found. A low tritium concentration was found in aquifer 2, indicating that so they are of older recharge, and can say that their age was also calculated up to 12,000 years. So they are older water, some patches. And however, connectivity of aquifer 1 and 2 was also evident from tritium, because we find some concentration of tritium also in aquifer 2. That's why we assess that the aquifer 2 and 1, they are connected somewhere, because we have already observed in those Heliborn data output and our geophysical output also, due to those value channels, there are some connection between first aquifer and second aquifer and some localities. So from the d-axis values versus d-axis versus your oxygen-18 plot, it seems groundwater from aquifer 2 is recharged by Son River, but a few samples also indicate recharge from Punpun River, a minor river which is flowing in the eastern side of the study area. Son River is flowing in the western side of part of the study area. So if you see the comparison with global water meteoritic line, so here the locations of your aquifer 1 and aquifer 2. And here your deuterium d-axis versus O18 plots, they also indicate that modern water, the first aquifer system, this is modern water high recharge component, aquifer 2 getting recharge from Son and Punpun at some localities, because here this is actually Son River, and this is river Ganga, and this is river Punpun. So this aquifer is so a blue dots, these are for your aquifer 2. So there it is assessed that some they are getting some recharge from also those rivers, because all those aquifers are connected with the paleo channels of those rivers. And this is aquifer 1. This is also old recharge in aquifer 1 and 2. And this is here, this component aquifer 2 getting recharge from Son River. Aquifer parameters were also measured conducting pumping tests, as well as some you can say grain size analysis of sediments using some empirical methods. So your first aquifer system, principal aquifer system, its transmissivity values goes up to approximately 16,000 meters square per day, with a mean value of 7,861 meters square per day. And the storage coefficient for the first aquifer system shows it's unconfined to semi-confined kind of aquifer for the first aquifer system. And the second aquifer system, transmissivity average T stands at 8,631. So aquifers are very good. Discharge of T-wells varies from 123 meters cube per hour to 225 meter cube per hour. So for a maximum drawdown of 4 meter only. The storage coefficient indicates the confinedness of the second aquifer system. So the aquifer parameters, you see hydraulic conductivity in the first aquifer system at the upper parts adjoining the Ganga. Here lies your sediments with higher conductivity values in the first aquifer system. Here also in second aquifer system, the higher conductivity sediments lies in the western part. Some empirical methods were also utilized after grain size analysis of sediments obtained from boreholes. So based on this sediment analysis, some you can say aquifers were also characterized, and their K values were also determined. So average K values for the aquifer systems were prepared based on the individual layer K values. So as for these estimations, your equations given by Breyer, Hazen, and Kozeny-Karman, they are very good. These methods give very good approximations of your K values for the aquifer systems, your aquifer sediments. If you see the first aquifers for the first aquifer system, your K is much higher at you can say it gives from 40 to 106 meter per day. And the second aquifer system, which lies between 111 to 211 meter VGL, so K is a little less at standing at 55 to 42 as per these methods. So later on, some modeling activities, groundwater modeling was also carried out in that area. So some grids were created and aquifer response model was designed to evaluate the effects of present and projected groundwater withdrawals on the prevailing groundwater level basin in the alluvial aquifer underneath the pilot aquifer mapping area. So based on this entire exercise, which were projected for not less than 11 years, how the population will grow in that area and what will be the impact of the groundwater extraction in that area. So based on this aquifer response model, some you can say some management options were also formulated and they were proposed. Based on that, the entire area was classified into different segments, starting from your A, B, C, D, and E. So some segments were created. The first A segment in your map, if you see the A segment recommended for in that area, it was recommended for meeting additional irrigation requirement from aquifer 1, and it was also recommended for meeting industrial allocation up to 20 MCM from aquifer 2, recharge by industries to be made by, to aquifer 1 only. So in the area B, it was recommended that area B is also here where your city of Patna is located. So recommended for decongestion of pumping network of municipal water supply from this area. It was proposed to shift the pumping wells to another area which is characterized by C here, suitable location for shifting and dispersing of municipal water supply wells to this area, because this area is much more productive. So recommended D, if you see the location D, B, C, D, D is here. So recommended only for abstraction for drinking and domestic purpose from aquifer 2. It is because the aquifer in the aquifer 1, the top portions are contaminated by groundwater arsenic. If we go on extracting water from aquifer 2 in an unlimited way for your industries and irrigation, so there may be one your disturbance between piezometric head and the aquifer water level in the phreatic aquifer, so that water from the phreatic aquifer may percolate downward to the aquifer 2 and contaminating there is a chance of contamination percolating from the top aquifer to the second aquifer system. That's why it was recommended that there should be limited water withdrawal from this aquifer 2 in that area. It should be used only for domestic and drinking. And in the area E, in the south western part, recommended for large scale adoption of artificial recharge in aquifer 1. So if scenario 1 is permitted, I mean to say in this area, because there is one lowering of water level and aquifers are also of low potential. So it was recommended for adoption of artificial recharge in that aquifer 1 in that area. Thank you. I think well in time I completed. Anyone? Hello? You hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Yes.
Yes, we hear you, Doctor.
Okay. Any question?
No, thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you all for patient hearing.
You are a good speaker and excellent explanation.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now over to Madam Digimal Josh.
I think there are, can you hear me?
Yes,
I think there are two hand raised. So if one by one you can ask your queries as.
Yeah, please.
Please, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Saho, for a good presentation. I interested your session very much. And my question is about the aquifer mapping project. How long the project of layers of the groundwater on what the time can update this mapping projected by if you using the satellite image or aircraft and the prediction of the soil layers or the soil carried the water like sandstone aquifer. I think the sandstone aquifer it is the limited quantity of water compared of the Nubian sandstone, which it is rich of the water. So my question is about the mapping, aquifer mapping predict. What is the time can update this mapping? Thank you.
Okay. So exactly what we want to know, because there is no sandstone actually in that area. There is no sandstone. These are actually loose sediments. Loose sediments brought by rivers, and they are deposited there, and they form huge sequence of alternate layers of sand and clay like that. In that area, that sand is of large thickness. It goes up to, you can say, in some patches, the first aquifer system goes up to more than 100-meter thick sand deposits are there, and with minor intercalations of clay. So those aquifers are of huge potential also, because they are having a huge connection of your recharge from the rivers like your Son and Punpun, and because of your incidence of paleogenesis on the surface also, they get a recharge from rainfall in a major way. So these aquifers are of large potential. I think there is no sandstone actually. There are clays. There are sand and the clays only. There is no sandstone, because your Precambrian basement lies at the base, and over which your quaternary sediment have been deposited, and these sediments are mostly they are from Pleistocene deposits. They are Pleistocene sediments, and fine to coarser in nature. Some gravel beds are also observed, and these sediments, they form prolific aquifers in that area, and their groundwater quality also is very good. And we delineate all these things taking the help of different advanced techniques of from your geophysics and hydrochemical studies, and also groundwater modeling, isotope techniques, and these techniques were employed to delineate the entire aquifer and characteristics. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sudarshan, for the explanation, and thank you, Ms. Reem Ahmad from Sudan, for this meaningful query. Is there any other question? If not, we can move forward to the next technical presentation. I would like to thank Dr. Sudarshan for such an excellent presentation. Sir has given an overview about the most prolific aquifer system of India, that is in the Indo-Gangetic alluvial plains, that is the multi-aquifer system. And the National Aquifer Mapping has revealed the wealth of subsurface information about that using the state-of-the-art technologies. All the things were outlined in Dr. Sudarshan's presentation. Thank you once again. So moving on to the next technical.
As I have a question, I've not been opportunity to speak.
Yes, definitely. Please bring it up.
All right, fine. I think my first comment would be to commend the efforts of Dr. Sua and his team. They've done a very commendable job, no doubt, in groundwater system analysis. But I have a curiosity, and that is the area I want to actually desire that I shed light on. Basically, in groundwater monitoring system, whatever the techniques that we're employing, and I think in this case now, it has a lot of, basically they're geospatial, it's got remote sensing and a geographic information system deployed effectively. We know the significance of the baseline and time variant data, which he did say were actually used in conjunction with the research center at Adarab. But I want to ask, because maybe it's an oversight on my own part, I would want him to shed light on, were there notable significance relative to variance? I mean, the variation in this baseline data that were deployed, considering the simulation and the models that were used, and the eventual result, because in the result explanation, I didn't see adequate a comparison and explanation relative to what the variations were. Thank you.
Okay. So what I follow actually, asking that remote sensing studies are not being taken up in that entire exercise, because actually remote sensing studies, we consider those studies as very preliminary in nature. They help in reconnaissance survey. So nevertheless, we do not fail to take that up. Some if you have seen some land use maps, geomorphology maps, and those maps were also prepared taking the help of remote sensing. And some paleochannels, they are also demarcated with the help of remote sensing. So this is that aspect has not been highlighted here, but we have taken definitely the help of remote sensing. But it's not a, you can say, it's not the only tool which we employed in delineating the aquifer system. Because the second thing is that, because the presentation, we have only 1 hour, and there is a huge project it was, and there is a huge database and outputs. It was not possible to express all those things, including the entire gamut of your groundwater modeling aquifer response model. It was not possible to communicate everything regarding your groundwater modeling. Only the area, your grids were shown to you, and some outputs. And entire exercise is there, and some publication is also there. Ground modeling in the case of Patna or one area, you can find it out in the internet.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, many of the delegates have requested for the presentations at the end of the training session. So I request the presenter, Dr. Sahu, to share the presentation with the delegates, if it is possible.
Okay, thank you, thank you. I will share it, definitely.
Is there any more queries? We can take one more if it is there. Well, it seems there is no more queries. So moving on to the next presentation, that is again on the National Aquifer Mapping of India. This is one of the flagship programs of Central Groundwater Board, which ran for more than 10 years, since 2012 to 2013. It is still running actually. It generated a wealth of information about the subsurface aquifer disposition at the scale of 1:50,000. The aquifers have been mapped. So the previous presentation, we heard about how the aquifer mapping is instrumental in bringing out the information from an alluvial aquifer system. So the next one will be on the basaltic aquifer system. Our next speaker is Sri Saurav Gupta, Regional Director of Rajiv Gandhi National Groundwater Training Institute. Let me give a brief introduction about next speaker. Sri Saurav Gupta completed his MTech in Applied Geology from IIT Roorkee, one of the most prestigious institute of India. Sir has more than 33 years of experience in various hydrogeological environs, and his expertise is in basaltic aquifer system, spending more than 30 years in that terrain. And more on top of that, his noticeable contributions have been in the field of groundwater development, management, and regulation related aspects. Sri Gupta was associated for national and international collaborative project assignments during his service. He has published and presented many papers in national and international seminars, and he is a member of various state-level coordination committees in the state of Maharashtra, India, for planning and implementation of various groundwater-related schemes and policies on groundwater management. With this introduction, I would like to call Sri Saurav Gupta sir to deliver his next talk on the topic, that is National Aquifer Mapping, NACIM, for Deccan basaltic terrain in Maharashtra. Over to you, sir.
Unmute. Start video. Continue now. First में है ना? Slide show में ही है ना? हाँ, slide initial slide. Unmute करना. आवाज आ रहा है, पूछिए. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, very much audible.
Okay, good.
Yes.
You just put on the slideshow, sir. This one, the slide presentation, sir. It's not on the full mode on the slide mode.
It is actually now in the presentation mode. So is it not visible entirely?
No, sir, it's not on the presentation mode, sir.
It is here. It is in the presentation mode.
So you just share and the sharing and restart that.
Okay. Stop sharing. And share this one. This one. There.
Yeah, now it's okay, sir.
It's okay now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay now.
Good. Good afternoon from India. Maybe good morning for you. I'm Saurabh Gupta, Regional Director, as I already been introduced by my colleague Vijimal Jose. This is a topic which I'm taking is on national aquifer mapping in Ahmednagar district of Maharashtra. The last talk was on aquifer mapping in soft rock alluvium area, but this is in contrast is for hard rock areas. This district is a very just a minute, please. This district is in Maharashtra, as I said, underlain by hard rock alluvium, hard rock. This district is a very big district and it has an area of 16,762 square kilometer and it has total 14 talukas. The difficulty with this area is this area falls in rain shadow zone of Western Ghat. If you see the physiographic map of India on the western side, there is a Western Ghat and just towards the rain shadow side, this district is lying. This is Ahmednagar district. So the rainfall in this district is very less. It suppose this, as I said, this area is underlain by Deccan Trap. Green color is showing the Deccan Trap strata, and yellow color is showing the alluvium, which is confined to the river course. Just along the river course, there are these alluvium deposits are. These are basically colluvium deposit which have been deposited by the flow of river. So as you see in the slide, 90%, 97% of the area is occupied by Deccan Trap, and 3%, just 3% is occupied by the alluvium. And if you look at the drainage, this northern part falls in the Godavari. It is a part forming a part of Godavari river basin, and southern part is the part of Krishna basin river. Actually, the issues with this district is it has a very low to moderate rainfall, which is 450 mm to 707 mm. And the probability of rainfall of normal rainfall is 45 to 60%. Means the probability of non-normal rainfall is also like just a minute, please hold on. The probability of rainfall is just 50-50, otherwise the rainfall is below the normal. And the possibility of drought is also from 30% to 16%, like in Taluka of Jamkhed. There the probability of moderate drought is 30%, means once in a 3 years, there is a moderate drought in Jamkhed Taluka. Between 2000 to 2019, the district experienced 3 times of moderate drought. So this entire district is drought affected district. So the rainfall pattern has been analyzed for the entire district, and it is, you can see from the table that the probability of normal rainfall is more or less 50-50. And there is a possibility of severe drought also. In some of the talukas, it's like 4%, and some it is 15%. So there is a possibility then in the bar diagram, it is shown that what are the talukas are suffering from, even from the severe drought. Just yes, sorry for the break. Yes, so you can see that this area is suffering from the normal to moderate to severe drought. As a result of low to moderate rainfall, the area is showing declining of water level. Central Groundwater Board or State Groundwater Board is monitoring the water level of the hydrograph station. We call it hydrograph station, or these are the observation well for which we are monitoring the water level 4 times a year. This data shows the variation in water level as a result of rainfall and various development activities. So if we look at the long-term water level, we will see that there has been a decline of water level in 14,380 square kilometer. 90% of the area is showing decline in water level. And this decline of more than 60 centimeter or 0.6 meter is in 146 square kilometer it is like 0.92% or 1% of the total area. So this area is affected or witnessing the decline of water level from many years. So this data has been analyzed from 2010 to 2019. And one thing that is very important here is that the water level has a strong conformity with the rainfall. When there is a high rainfall, there is a rise in water level. When there is a low rainfall, there is decline in water level. If we look at the post-monsoon, this was the previous slide was the water level during the month of May. May is the pre-monsoon period. In India, the monsoon starts from June to September, October, last up to October. So this is for the post-monsoon water level. In the month of water level, we observed in the month of November, and the previous slide was for the water level in the month of May, when there was a deepest water level. And this was the after the rainfall, what is the rise in water level. When we look at the picture, we also see that there has been a decline in water level in 11,770 square kilometers, that is 74% of the area. And decline of 60 centimeter of 0.6 meter is 77.12 square kilometer. This shows that the rainfall has not been sufficient to bring the water level to the level where it was previous to 10 years back. So it means there is either insufficient rainfall to fully recharge the aquifer, or there has been a heavy exploitation of water. Because of this, there has been a decline in water level, both in pre-monsoon and post-monsoon. If we see the level of groundwater exploitation, we can see from this table that there has been an increase in development from 2004 to 17. Say in Pathati block, it increased in over the last 10 years, 13 years, from 55% to 87%. Rauri block, 84% to 96%. Rata block, 106% to 112.5%. And in Shevgaon block, 67 to 84%. So how in 10 years, the exploitation of water groundwater has increased. As a result of this area has been categorized as overexploited, semi-critical, critical. Overexploited means where there is a development of more than 100% is overexploited. More than 90% is critical or semi-critical. And other less than 65% is safe. Central Groundwater Board has taken the data of these many wells. There are existing wells of CGWB. These are the wells of piezometer and the dug wells, which were used for monitoring the data. Existing well was 77, and we have included state government well. State government is also parallelly doing monitoring of water level. So the data of 230 key observation well was also taken, and presently there are 209 wells which were including state government wells and Central Groundwater Board well. In addition to that, we have added 236 key wells for monitoring of the water level in the year the NACUM studies were taken. So total 236 key wells were inventoried, monitored during the year of our investigation or study. The wells monitored give the information of the aquifer and the water level of these aquifers, water level in these aquifers. When we go in the field, we observe what is the strata, what is the aquifer, and what is the water level of those aquifer. And in addition to that, we conduct a unit draft study to know what is the resource potential of that well in a year. And besides that, we are doing pumping test analysis to know the aquifer characteristics. Basically, the NACUM, these studies were taken under the NACUM. The NACUM studies were to understand the aquifer behavior, aquifer system, aquifer geometry, and the disposition of aquifer and their aquifer characteristics and water quality. To study these aquifers, we have employed all the available techniques for groundwater investigation, like geomorphology, hydrogeology, hydrology, geophysical, and geochemical techniques to bring an output for aquifer disposition and aquifer characteristics. For basically, we have prepared aquifer map, we have carried out aquifer mapping, prepared aquifer map in 2 dimension and 3 dimension, and the various land use map like geomorphic map, clay map, soil map, and the land use map were all integrated to identify the area which is the suitable area for particular intervention, like for development or for recharging, and what is the feasibility of that particular intervention into that area. After all this investigation, we found that there are major two aquifer system. One aquifer is phreatic aquifer system, which extend to the depth of 25 meter, and the thickness of aquifer in the basalt is 8 to 12 meter. In aquifer 2, aquifer T2 means the deeper aquifer which starts below after phreatic aquifer. 0 to 25 say is the depth of aquifer 1, and the aquifer 2 start below 25 meter, and it is found that the aquifer extend up to 160 meter in case of basalt. In alluvium, the alluvium aquifer, they are of shallow thickness, their thickness is very shallow, and they are underlain by basaltic rock. So basement is basalt, which is along the river course. The alluvium got deposit. That is why the alluvium forming aquifer of limited area and deeper extent, they are not very well extending. If you look at these diagrams, pictures, in these pictures, you will see that the areas in basalt, the thickness of the depth of occurrence of the aquifer, different colors are shown. This color, the aquifer depth is 9 to 12 meter. This one is 12 to 16. Like this, deepest water level is 28 to 30 meter. So dark color area in Sangamner Taluka, we are finding that the aquifers are deeper. They are 26 to 35 meter. And the hatching pattern shows what is the thickness of the aquifer. In cross hatching, we are getting aquifer of 20 to 24 meter thickness. Likewise, in aquifer 2, which is a deeper aquifer, below the alluvium or below the phreatic aquifer, which extend up to 160 meter, and the thickness is 6 to 8 meter. The thickness of this basalt is very less because this is a hard rock aquifer and the vesicular part is very thin. These vesicles are sometimes filled with secondary mineral, which is making these aquifers more impermeable and intransmissible. The aquifer only occurs along the fractures and joints. That is why along the fractures and the joints, we are getting aquifer. If you accumulate all the fracture and joints and the aquifer, and the shear zone which is formed along the joints of fracture is 6 to 8 meter. In alluvium, the aquifer is up to 35 meter depth and having 5 to 8 meter granulal zone, which is acting as a aquifer. This is a diagram of the 3D disposition in the district. This is aquifer 1. This is top one is aquifer 1. This is aquifer 2. And this is massive basalt. Means aquifer extend, deeper aquifer extend up to this depth in this area. In this area, it extends only up to this area. Below this, there is no aquifer. In this, the aquifer extend up to this. So depth-wise, 3D, we have delineated what is the depth of the aquifer where the aquifer is occurring. So as I said in the previous slide, that aquifer 1 is 9 to 35 meter, aquifer 2 is 30 to 182 meter, and in alluvium, the aquifer is 10 to 40 meter. These aquifer we have identified by purposeful exploration drilling. We are drilling up to the 200 meter depth. We know that there is, as we go deeper, there is possibility of an aquifer is very less. It is almost minimal because in basaltic area, there is no change of formation. If there is some good formation come at a deeper depth, then we may find the aquifer. But in this part, there is no possibility of change of formation because the aquifers are, the basalt thickness is about thousands meter. And the fracture as we go deeper become unproductive and tight so that there is no recharge to these aquifers, deeper aquifers, and there is the possibility of deeper aquifer is also very less because fractures are not yielding any water. They are not promising for groundwater source. in the right one, you will see that there are like bar type of diagrams have been made. This shows the explorative well that CGWB has done up to 200-meter depth. These are the showing the location of the bore wells drilled for the purpose of studying the depth of the aquifer, the yield potential of the aquifers, and the quality of the different aquifer depth-wise which we are getting. So in each bar diagram, it is shown that the aquifer, phreatic aquifer by light green color, then moderate green color is aquifer 2, and the dark green one is the massive portion. Based on this data, this 3D diagram has been prepared. Based on this data, we have prepared fence diagram. We try to connect all the aquifers, how laterally these aquifers are extending, and how they are thinning or thickening, and also the massive portion, how this is varying with depth. So, and certain sections we have taken. Excuse me. So we have taken certain sections. If you see, look at the section A dash, this section, you will see how the thickness of the aquifer, second aquifer is varying. First aquifer is this one. This is second aquifer. This first aquifer become invisible because of the dashed line. But this shows the second aquifer, and the water level we have observed in phreatic aquifer and the deeper aquifer. So water level in aquifer 1 is showing by this color, and the water level in aquifer 2 is showing by this color. You can see this one. This one, you can see the water level between these two aquifers. Similarly, along the section BB dash, you can see how the thickness of the aquifer varying, aquifer 2 varying across the area. Aquifer CC dash, you can see how the, so in nutshell, we can say that if we drill in a particular area, what is the thickness of the aquifer will be available, what will be the phreatic aquifer thickness, what is the deeper aquifer thickness, and what is the and the depth at which we will be getting the third aquifer. So this is a study to demarcate the thickness of various aquifer and the yield potential and disposition of particular aquifer. If we see the yield potential of the aquifer, you can see that the dark green color is showing the areas where the yield potential is 50 to 100 cubic meter per day. This is a promising area, and this area coincides with the area where the deeper water level was 20, aquifer was very thick, and thickness of depth of the occurrence of aquifer was also 20 to 30 meters something. So this is a promising area which is good for groundwater potential point of view. In aquifer 2, we will see that dark area where the discharge of is more than 1.25 to 2.5 is very less. We are getting moderate yield from 0.2 to 1.38 LPS. So if you see that the area, very little area is there which has high yield. This is for aquifer 2. Aquifer 2 means the aquifer, deeper aquifer below 35 to 200 meter, because the yield of the wells is very poor, because the groundwater supply is from the fractures. The fractures are very limited, and if they are available, they are yielding very little of water. In case of alluvium, we are getting good potential along the northern part of the district in Kopargaon and Rauri block, where the yield potential is 3 to 4 LPS. So this is a good area. This is probably along a river, Godavari. Based on the water level monitoring data, we have prepared the water level map, depth to water level map for May 2019, that is pre-monsoon water level map for Ahmednagar district. When we look at this map, we see that the water level in the area varies from 10 to 20 meter BGL in major part of the area. And in a small part of the area, water level is 5 to 10 meter. 2 to 5 meter water level is very little. It is along the command area near the pond. Otherwise, water level is in the area 10 to 20 meter PGL during the month of May. During the post-monsoon in the month of November, we are seeing that the water level is 5 to 10 meter in major part of the district. 10 to 20 is in localized area. This is based, as I said, that 236 wells which we are monitoring. Based on that data, we are preparing this map. Similarly, this was the map for the phreatic aquifer, shallow aquifer, which is based on the dug well, open well observation data. But this map has been prepared based on the study of aquifer 2, based on the data of explorative well, which we have drilled. In the district, we have 154 explorative well, 44 observation well, and 20 piezometer. Based on that data, the plot which we have prepared, we are seeing that the water level is 10 to 20 meter BGL in major part of the district during pre-monsoon. But in post-monsoon period, the water level is from 5 to 10 and 10 to 20 meter. Isolated patches are for 2 to 5 and more than 20 meter. Based on the data, we have prepared water table contour, water table map. Water table map and depth to water table map are different. Depth to water table map is from the surface, depth of the water from the surface. But water table is the depth, the water level from the mean sea level. One is taking from the surface, other one is we are taking up from the mean sea level. So when we look at the diagram, it shows that water level elevation is from 520 meter to 840 meter MSL. And the water table contour drawn shows that the water level flow of water level is from higher reaches to lower reaches or towards the river basin or towards the river. It means the groundwater is contributing to the river. Besides that hydrogeological characteristics, we have studied the water quality also. In hard rock or basaltic aquifer, there is a possibility of hardness of water in basalt. So we have got in shallow aquifer 39 samples of 15% of the area out of total area is where EC is more than 3000 microsiemens per centimeter. In deeper aquifer, it is 20.15% of the area. Out of 253 samples, shallow aquifer 39 are having higher EC concentration, and this is for a deeper aquifer. 39 samples are showing higher concentration of EC, and 13 samples are showing higher concentration of EC. Then that is 3000, more than 3000 microsiemens per centimeter. But in case of nitrate, the shallow aquifer, 51 samples shows higher concentration of nitrate, that is 20.15%. In deeper aquifer, 22%, 14.76% area is showing excessive concentration of nitrate. So it shows that there are two elements which are having higher concentration is nitrate and electric conductivity. Fluoride, for fluoride, it's reasonable. 2 samples are showing higher concentration for shallow aquifer and 1 is for deeper aquifer. This is about the quality. And the variation in quality, EC, we have shown that in maximum part of the area, maximum area is under yellow color. It means that EC is 752 to 2250. That is permissible. Desirable is 250 to 750. Similarly, in case of aquifer 2 also, it is 750 to 2250. This is also in permissible limit. Desired limit is 252, which is isolated and it's confined to very small areas. So this is a 3D disposition and aquifer characteristic which we have brought out as a map or as a 3D diagram and tabular features. So if you look at the yield of aquifer 1 is 10 to 100 meter cube per day. Aquifer 2, it is 2.5 LPS, and in alluvium, which is alluvium, it is 50 to 100 meter cube per day. So of course, we are getting more yield in alluvium aquifer, and the pumping hour is also 1 to 5. Whereas in Deccan basalt, it is 1 to 3 hours. transmissivity also 30 to 80 meters square per hour per day in Deccan basalt. In alluvium, it is 30 to 120 meters square per day. So these are the parameters or characteristics we have determined from field studies, by pumping tests, by unit draft studies into the area. We have also carried out aquifer-wise groundwater resource availability. If we look at the figure, we can see what is the annual extractable groundwater recharge, what is the current groundwater extraction for industrial, agriculture, irrigation, and total, and what is the stage of groundwater development. If stage of groundwater development is above 65, it gets into water stressed area, means water is in a critical or semi-critical stage. So in most of the area, like some of the talukas like Parner, which is showing 48.8, this area is hilly and forested, and there the development agriculture activity is very less. That is why the groundwater extraction is not there. The areas which are showing like Rahata, they are very high crop areas. There the groundwater extraction for agriculture is very high, and very high water intensive crops are grown in that area. So in the diagram we have shown with the white bar diagram that what is the annual extractable groundwater recharge and what is the annual extractable groundwater draft. So this shows the stage of development. So these figures we have shown figure, what is the figure about the resource availability and utilization. This is given in this table. You can see that what are the figures and how critical is the area from groundwater point of view. So as the remark given, major issues, declining water level trend that has been manifested by declining of water level and water table trend, which we have drawn. Deficit rainfall and drought. Rainfall data we have analyzed and found that these areas are of moderate rainfall, and there is a possibility of a moderate to severe drought. And drought phenomena is recurring in the district. Limited aquifer potential. We have seen that the shallow aquifer are somewhat good yielding aquifer, but if you go deeper, the thickness of aquifer is very less and their yield potential is very less. So the sustainability of the deeper aquifer is very poor. From March onward, there is a water scarcity in lean period. There is practically no summer season crop. Only the water is available, and in some villages, water may not be available for drinking. And we have seen that the nitrate concentration is, and EC concentration is higher than the permissible limit, and overexploitation of talukas. This you can see from the table which we have shown here, there the water is stage of development is more than 100%. It's like 84% in some talukas, 84.5, 100.15, 103, 96, 6. These are the semi-critical and critical areas, overexploited area where the exploitation is very high. To manage these aquifers, now our objective was to delineate the aquifers. First objective of the NAQUIM was delineate the aquifer, delineate its geometry, delineate its disposition, see what is its disposition and what are the aquifer characteristics. Aquifer characteristics means what is the yield potential of the aquifer, what is the storativity, what is the transmissivity, what is the thickness of the aquifer. After determining all these parameters of an area, now we come to the management part. When we know what are the issues, we have to get on the management part. How can we make these aquifers sustainable? What are the efforts? What are the interventions required? The problem in this area is the water, since the rainfall is very less, it's like moderate 500 to 500, 700, which is very poor rainfall. And rainy days are also very less. It's so less that when there is a rainfall, the surface water, the rainwater, even does not flow on the surface because the soil is so desaturated that it immediately absorbs the water. So in such situation, bringing in supply side intervention is difficult because we are not having sufficient source of water to conserve it, to recharge it. The availability of source water is very limited. Even then, wherever there is a water available, we have tried to implement or recommend for the supply side intervention, which can bring in into these areas. So if we see the first one is the unsaturated granular zone. And unsaturated granular zone means thickness of the aquifer and the above vadose zone, where this space is available. In the massive part, we cannot recharge or store the water. What is the thickness of this unsaturated granular zone where water can be stored? So this is the area we have given taluka wise. Then what is the recharge potential? If this area multiplied by specific yield, then we get the volume of water that can be recharged. And what is the surface water should be available to recharge to 5.65 of water? 34.20. This much of the water is required to bring in supply side intervention and to recharge or saturate this aquifer. But we are having availability of 14.5, 14.8 as a surface runoff. This is for all the talukas. We see that what is the water required to fully saturate this aquifers or bring the stage of development to the lower side. The surface water is not available, is inadequate. The type of structure we have proposed into the area where the surplus water is available, what type of structure as per the aquifer disposition, aquifer geometry, the structure we have proposed, percolation tank and check dam. As per the feasibility, we have proposed 52 in Akola, check dam 148. 48 percolation tank in Jamkhed 136. Like that, the feasibility of particular structure as per the feasibility, as per the availability of surplus surface runoff, we have proposed these many number of structures. And the volume of water can be conserved is 11.10, 10.2. And the water available was about 14. And we have to consider the efficiency. As per 75% efficiency, we are getting 11.10 water, surface water, which can be used to recharge percolation tank and check dam. In urban area, we have proposed to cover a household with rooftop rainwater harvesting. The potential of rooftop rainwater harvesting is taken as 32% of the is 0.232 MCM. If we look at the district, complete district, we will see that annual resource, available resource, MCM available is 1651.4 MCM. Stage of groundwater development 81.32%. Volume of unsaturated granular zone 32868 MCM. Recharge potential 657.2. And what is the water at requirement at 75% efficiency? 776.2. So like that, this is the figure given for the whole district, and the location with like blue or red color, these are given. What are the location? These are the feasible location for percolation tank and check dams. There are two types of intervention, as you can understand, that one is supply side intervention, one is demand side. Supply side is you have to increase the availability of water by increasing the supply of water by extracting or developing more groundwater sources or increasing the recharge so that this water can be extracted in the year. So these are the supply side. Now we are coming to the demand side intervention. Supply side intervention has its limitation because as I said, the availability of the granular zone or the thick aquifer where the water can be recharged, it can accept the water, and the rainfall or the surface water source or any other source of water can be available to recharge that aquifer. But demand side intervention is restricting the use of water. In area which are heavily critical or heavily overexploited, we have proposed demand side intervention. Like these areas, some areas are under sugarcane cropping pattern. In Nevasa block, 5% square kilometer is under sugarcane cultivation, which we have proposed to bring under pomegranate cultivation, which is expected to save 8.25 MCM of water. Similarly, in Rata block, the 10 kilometer of sugarcane area is proposed to bring under pomegranate, and which is going to save 16.5 MCM of water. Thus, there will be a total saving in the district of 24.75 MCM. Sugarcane are the high water crop, intensive crop, which are to be replaced with the pomegranate. If we implement both groundwater saving due to supply side intervention and demand side intervention, if we add both, we can see that there will be a saving of water and stage of development, which was can be bring to 81.32, which was little higher. So what is volume of water that can be recharged is all given. So like that, we have to bring intervention to increase supply of water and to reduce the consumption of water by bringing in change in crop and bringing in micro irrigation practices to save water. So in this area, which can be bring in by micro irrigation techniques, is given block-wise. It is given. So quantity of water will be saved is given in the last column. And based on the water which we save, we can bring in this much area taluka wise and total 262.79 square kilometer for under groundwater, assured groundwater irrigation. In some of the area where the groundwater is available for development, the stage of the development, this 16.38 is groundwater available to bring in additional development of groundwater. Like that, in each taluka, we have calculated what is the water, groundwater is still available to increase the development or bring in to the level of 70%. In some area where there is a still development of less than 70%, say 60%, 40%, 50%, there we can bring in more development and this much of groundwater is available. These all exercises have been done based on the groundwater resource assessment of the phreatic and deeper aquifers. This has been prepared. What are the number of structures can we bring in? We can have 639 dug well like that for each taluka. This has been given. How many additional dug well can be constructed or into that area, or the number of number of bore well tapping the deeper aquifer. What is the resource available in deeper aquifer? How many bore wells can be drilled? This is all exercises done based on the availability of surface groundwater in phreatic aquifer and the groundwater in deeper aquifer. So the these are the talukas, and with the red color, we have shown that these are the area, where are the districts in which we can replace, like Rahata, we can replace sugarcane with the pomegranate. Green one is pomegranate, red one is the sugarcane. Same is Nevasa. There we can replace where there is a sugarcane cropping, there we can replace this. So it is a comment given on the top that drip irrigation proposed to adopt in 327 square kilometer area would save a total 174.20 MCM water. Change of chronic from sugarcane to pomegranate in 15 square kilometer area of 2 blocks, Nevasa and Rahata, to save the total 24.75 meter. For groundwater development plan, these are the red color is shown the areas where there is a Parner, say Parner, the stage of development was 40%. In Karjat and Jamkhed, Nagar. These are the areas where not highly under agriculture activity. So their stage of development is less, and we can propose some of the groundwater development by bringing in groundwater development structure, dug well and bore well, to up to the stage of development, say safe development, say 70%. So in these slides, we have given the benefit aquifer resource availability 1651.4 MCM. This is the shallow aquifer, phreatic aquifer. This is the resource. And aquifer 2, the resource is 249 MCM. So total resources, we have 17.66.75 MCM groundwater resources in the district. So additional groundwater resources available by supply side is to 1.63, demand side 4.8 MCM. So this was all about the groundwater studies which were done under NACUM. The objective of NACUM is to precisely demarcate the aquifer, understand aquifer geometry, study its different characteristics, what is the yield potential, what is the storativity, what is the transmissivity, and how these aquifers are behaving, how many aquifers are available at a like depth judiciously, which we can be exploited. After studying all these features, all these characteristics, what are the limitations and what are the resources available? Based on the limitation and resources, we can make judicious management plan. It is the observation that the demand side management schemes are more appropriate more water saving than supply side interventions. Because supply side intervention has limitation of resource, say surface water. But demand side intervention is appropriate and is beneficial. To promote this demand side intervention, we are taking up trainees to farmers and various stakeholders for encouraging them to use water saving devices. And by participatory management, they are educated to take their own decision about the crop, about the use of water, about the water saving practices. And this is a coordinated decision among the users, stakeholder, farmer, so that they are encouraged to take this measures for further development. I think it's enough, and if you please maybe hearing this my lecture sincerely talk, and if you have any question, please. Hello. Hello.
Sir.
Yes, we are hearing.
Yeah. Any question, please?
I don't have. I don't know that.
I think, sir, your presentation was very elaborative, so there are no queries and no questions, sir.
No, I tried to explain them everything, but even if you have any question, you can send on the chat. We will reply you. Okay.
Right, sir.
Okay, doctor.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sir, if you allow me, sir, there is one announcement for the tomorrow, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Participants are kindly requested that tomorrow the session will be start at 2 p.m. at Indian Standard Time. Today the session was start 30 minutes prior to the scheduled time because of the inaugural session. And who are following on the YouTube because of some internet connection on their respective countries, all participants are kindly requested to put their name and country under the comments box, so we may consider as a attendance for the awarding certificates. Thank you. It's over to ma'am. You know.
Yes. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you, Sri Saurav Gupta, Regional Director, Rajiv Gandhi National Groundwater Training Institute, for this very illustrative and excellent presentation. The previous presentation has given the idea of what is the end product of National Aquifer Mapping. That is terrain-specific aquifer management and development plan. So based on all the mapping exercise we do under this National Aquifer Mapping in 1:50,000 scale, the aquifers are being identified, delineated, and they are being characterized. The aim of the objective is to come up with a customized or terrain-specific management plan. So sir has elaborated all the aspect of that. There were not many questions, and I happened to see in the chat box there was one question: why pomegranate was chosen for the crop diversification for water saving? We can get back the answer from yes, tomorrow it will be answered. So with this, today's sessions are over. So mostly it was about National Aquifer Mapping. Tomorrow we will discuss about the resource assessment, that is resource estimation of aquifers. So we shall resume at tomorrow 2 p.m. Indian Standard Time, and there will be 2 more presentations. Thank you so much, all of you, for the patient hearing. So we shall call it a day. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you very much. God bless everyone.
Yeah, now that just allow me to end the meeting now. So we'll meet tomorrow. Thank you very much once again.
Thank
Bye.